And Anthea Morphitis.
So
And
look,
we've got
guys,
a special guest today.
yeah, we said we would do
Yes.
something a little special for you guys, and we brought on a guest today. So this one, you're gonna hear more of him doing the talking than us this time.
Oh nah.
What I mean? I'm gonna let him introduce himself to you guys. So you have the floor, man. Go right ahead.
Well, all I'm gonna say is my name is Vante Poems. You'll get to know me. But if you ever forget, I like to say it like this. It's Vante Poems, yeah.
I love
Thank you.
that. Love
Thank
that.
you. Sorry, I've been working all day. That was kind of weak, but I guess when we're talking, my voice will warm up a little bit.
So
Happy
why don't
days.
you like guys, like the reason why I brought him on here, why it ties into what we're talking about, because Vante is not only a artist, he's a father, he's a husband, he's happily married. So he really understands what it takes to be married and how to have that success. So when I had the conversation with him and he brought up that relationships should be treated like business agreements, I said, I need to actually have you talk about this. So I want you to give the audience a rough generality why you feel it should be treated like a business agreement.
Well, it's more so the relationship as its own entity. As far as like the person you want to be with for the rest of your life, if we're talking about a marriage, of course, treat that human, as a human with they have their own thoughts and feelings. And what I mean by treat the relationship as a business, first you have to figure out who you are and what you represent. Second, you have to know how established you are just as a person with your own thoughts and feelings, because you can't invite another person. I like to just say human, just to keep it humble.
Of course.
Um, and you want to make sure you're strong and whenever they're weak. And lastly, speaking of strong and weak, when you fully establish and know who you are, and you have to figure out what you want, what type of person you want to invest in. Sometimes me, I'll keep it
Yeah.
personal. I'm very impulsive. Very, very impulsive. What? The new tech just came out. You can fly in the sky. They got hoverboards. Oh no, I'm buying that. I don't care how much it costs. I'll just do it right away. And I knew that in a woman I need someone that can slow me down. And that's not as easy as it sounds. Someone that
They
can
kind
stop
of
me in
pull
my
you
tracks.
in.
Right, right. And that's one thing that I love about my wife. Now, if I was impulsive and she was impulsive,
It'll be a
I
problem.
can't I can't imagine where we'd be at. To next year it will be 10 years. And it works vice versa. She's very decisive. Very, should I do this? It's worse when we in the shopping. Don't even go shopping. She'll hold two things up, and I'd be like, "What we doing? Shopping for cars? Like, what we doing?" And but we really balance each other out. I think every relationship should be like a business where you're working on how you can build reputation, what you want to get out of your relationship, and things of that nature. I know we'll get diving deep. We can talk.
Oh, I love that you're talking about all this though, because
Mhm.
when we look at the failure rate of relationships, it's ridiculous, and how people just trade up people very quickly. Now people are not staying with people anymore. They're just like, well, if you're not what I want, on to the next one.
Honestly, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
was just going to say, it's like what Michael was just saying. It is very much, I think, what we've established through doing these podcasts as well is a lot of people don't vet one another. So they jump into something and like it'd be the same as business, as you're saying. If you're not vetting a business partner and you're not understanding what they want out of the business and what you want out of the business, and then you get together, it's going to be very quickly crumble. And the same with the relationship. And I think we're finding a lot of people don't vet and they jump into something, and then before you know it, it's crumbling and they're jumping onto the next, and not because they're not asking the right questions. And as soon as it hits that 3 month mark, where it's starting to get a bit more serious, they realize that actually you don't want anything that I want, but they didn't establish that from the first few weeks or in the first couple of weeks even.
Right. And yeah, you're right. I mean, vetting is a huge part, especially in the dating game. If you're not vetting, you're just out here catching fish and throwing them back in the sea. That's not cool. But at the same time, I also feel that's okay. As long as you're not dragging along someone knowing that you
Right.
don't want to be in that relationship. And some people are dealing with childhood trauma, some people are still healing, and that's what I mean by you have to establish who you are before anything else, because then you'll start relying instead of investing. You start depending. You don't want to depend on anybody unless you really need to. It's like I hate to bring another analogy. I hope to keep it, but it's like never mind. I just keep it business.
No, no,
If you
go
No,
right
can't,
go.
ahead. Go right
no, no,
ahead.
no, 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 no. I'm a creator, so I like to just be
Yeah, yeah.
creative. So it's like a business. If something don't work, start something else. But it's still like a business where, you know, when you watch Shark Tank, they'll tell you, what's different about your product, what you got that nobody
Mhm.
else have. And you're right about the fairy tale part. You can't rely on being in love, and love at first sight is amazing. It's true. I believe in it, but I don't believe that that's what make a marriage last.
Mm-mm.
Because it ain't always the sky ain't always blue, the grass ain't always green. There's seasons. You know what I mean? There's times where business is booming, and then guess what? COVID might happen. What happens then? A lot of relationships was I was
Broke
like,
down.
whoa, how many people were breaking up, going through
Lot.
divorce? And I hate to. I mean, I know I'm not. I don't hate to say this, but I don't like to brag or nothing. But me and wifey, like we even became stronger. Because during COVID, you really needed somebody who was there. Who listen, who can empathize, who can show compassion. It's been a long week. Take a week off. I'll do the dishes this week. If you want, whatever you need, that's done. It's done. So things like that.
And do you find also in your type of in the relationship you have, and because you're very creative, during that time you're able to come together and be, I suppose it's not you can't be more, well, you can be more creative, but really come tap into more of that creative side together to say, okay, well, we're at home, what can we do? What can we do to put things out there in a different way to
hmm
what it would have done before COVID? Was it
hmm
more like a coming together and being able to bounce off of each other in that sense?
Yeah. I guess it's actually just been the same. You know what I mean? I'm always been a homebody unless it was something to do with work, or art or supporting someone. I was already home. I already come home. You know what I mean? And if you check all my music videos, most of my music videos, my wife was in it. I shot two music videos during COVID. My wife was in it. But
Ah,
Man of the Night, though, my very first music video, my wife was in it. We already have that strong relationship. When COVID came, we strong. She's strong. And we wasn't always like this. I I really had to work on it. Me, you know.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that, actually, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be vulnerable and share that. I
Mhm.
do have a game changing question to ask you. What do you feel is the fairy tale mindset that people have?
Um, I think the fairy tale mindset that most people have is that love lasts forever. You know what I mean? I think the idea of love, sure, lasts forever. You may love a person, even if they're not in your life, or you never even met the person at all. You might love them all your life, far as someone you may look up to or a mentor. But far as being in love, that shit. I mean, sorry, I don't know if I can curse.
No, no, you
That's
can.
oh, okay.
Mm.
It's out the window because like what if anything can happen? We live where possibilities is endless. on this earth, anything can happen. What if the baddest girl walk in the room and it's just you and her, and you know what I mean? And it's picture perfect. It's Disney perfect. And I'm not saying that nobody would fold, or I'm not even saying I would fold. I'm just saying you got to be really established and grounded to know who you are, and know when to walk away, because that fairy tale. Sorry, that fairy tale. Sorry, I know.
It's
It's just
okay.
something. Yeah, yeah. But that fairy tale shit is whack. And if you trying to marry, you trying to marry someone off of how they make you feel.
Hmm.
Nah, nah,
Hmm.
nah. And I know it's not it's what people do for you and whatnot. It's just about who you are as a person and who you want to spend time for the rest of your life around this sun with. And if you don't, if you know you're a person that you're a loner, that's okay. God didn't make everybody a companion. It's some every bear ain't out there with a male bear. They're dolo too. You don't have to be with somebody, and if you're just taking up space in the dating game because you just want to bit boppity boop with the next one, and then if that's your you know persona, or that's what you want to do, then go ahead. But I do understand the childhood trauma part where people don't know what they want until
Mm.
they're in a relationship, and then they figure out what they don't want.
Mm.
You know.
But I think also what you're saying there with when it comes down to that fairy tale mindset, you know, it can be fairy tale to start with, but I think what you're saying also is it's not going to be like that throughout a relationship. You've got to be
No.
prepared for the waves to come along. And I think a lot
Right.
of people, that fairy tale mindset, they think, oh, as soon as that comes along, oh, that's it, I'm out of it, I'm running. When actually, if you was to see it through and actually establish through that your strengths and their weaknesses, and their strengths and your weaknesses, and be able to come together and combine that as a one big strength, and be able to, like you said, have the compassion, have the support, have the conversations, and be able to come together like that, then there possibly could be a lot more relationships that will last. But I think what a lot of people do is once they get into the relationship, they start finding what's wrong with the other person, and they really focus on what's wrong. Especially, I'm going to say women do this a lot, where they get talking to their friends and say, "Oh, I don't like this about him," and then bam, that conversation goes to the next thing, to the next thing. Oh, and he's done this and he done that, and then before you know it, there's a big crumbling going on, and they don't realize they could have reined that back and actually gone back to the positives of what the relationship really is about. But I think again, that's because of childhood trauma. That's because people haven't let go of or healed themselves from things, so they don't know who they are when they walk into a relationship. So something happens, and then all the focus goes out the window. It goes on to the wrong, it goes on to the negative rather than the positives of what they're really about, I think.
Right. Right. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And also on the business, to add on to that too, to keep it on the business metaphor, figure out what you want when you go into a business. But let me talk about the relationship as a marriage being a business, the actual marriage. I said the relationship earlier, the marriage is the business. Figure out what you want. I know going into a marriage that same like going into a business. These first couple of years, I'm gonna really have to work my ass off. I'm gonna catch a lot of L's. Um, but I know that in 10 years, I want to be king. I want to be king, and I need a queen. And during that time, when you're with that person, I think that's when the wedding, the marriage starts. That's when everything starts. But you have to figure out even before that. That's what dating is. Okay, I want to spend the next 10 years. I don't have to spend 5 years. That's a whole other conversation. I don't believe in waiting so long to get married to say, will you marry me? I married my wife 3 months after even knowing her, you
Wow.
know?
You know what? You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. You waited
Yeah.
3 months. What made you so certain? You're like, okay, she's it. We're
That's
good.
amazing.
She's the
I
one.
love
Because
that.
I love what
Yeah.
he's saying. It's not about how you feel about the person, it's about suitability. do they suit into your life? It's about suitability instead of, oh, you make me feel this type of way. Because feelings change every day.
Because then you're
Mm,
compromising at that point.
Mm.
You
that's
know,
powerful. That's powerful.
yeah, you don't need to. You shouldn't have to compromise. And suiting all sounds like, but you sound old school. It's not old school. It's actually new school, where wifey can literally do whatever she want. I told it like this, and don't take it the wrong way. Um, but keeping it in context, as far as love goes, it's like a dog. How a human loves a dog unconditionally. It could pee on the floor. It could chase after a squirrel. It could, do anything, and you'll bring it back. What can we do next time so this doesn't happen? I hope you're fine. Are you okay? I've been here before. And it's the same thing. Now, if the dog is going, biting people, and you gotta figure this ain't my dog. This dog gotta go. This dog doesn't suit me. It has to go. And not to treat anything, a marriage or a wife, as a dog or anything, but that unconditional love has to be there to a point to say that you are yourself as human with thoughts and feelings, and I appreciate who you are. And if it's something that we can handle and grow from, then let's do that, until there's a point where you say you're supposed to walk away if you're not happy. But bringing it back to when we first met, we met on Facebook, online actually, and a suggested friend. It wasn't even a mutual friend, it was a suggested friend. And Facebook says, you both have one mutual friend. You guys should be friends. She had a cute profile pic, so I said, "Yep, yep." So when I poked her on Facebook. She poked me back, and then she got pregnant. And I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But and then just after 3 days of texting and just flirting with her, I said, I you can ask her. I kept it really real with her. Like, do you want to be in a relationship? I want to be your boyfriend. I don't need any more friends. I really like you. And she just said yeah. She just said yes. That's it.
Wow.
Then a month later, we planned. We started dating. A month later, we met each other in Syracuse. I'm still living in Utica. She lives in Ottawa at this point. And we stayed in a hotel. I think I spent about, it was a motel. It wasn't like this grandiose, but I spent about $2,000. We went to Italian dinners. We went shopping. I didn't have a car, so we taxied everywhere. We went to Ruby Tuesday. It was just a weekend trip, and she was supposed to go back that Monday on a Greyhound, and the alarm clock nor the desk, you can ask the desk to wake you up, woke us up, and she missed her Greyhound. And she had to stay an extra day. And that day was the best day. That day was the best day. I never felt, loved or appreciated. And, after 2 months, I said, I got kicked out of my house. That's a whole nother situation. My mom kicked me out, and I was living with my two brothers at the time, working two jobs, also going to school. And my brothers did something in the kitchen, and my mom thought it was me. And I said, I am not cleaning that up. That was not me. "Well, yes, you are." Then get out my house. So I'm out, and I never left back. Then I called my wife daily. My mom just kicked me out. I'm looking for an apartment. I'm just letting you know you should move down here with me, because if you don't, I don't think we're gonna last. She was on the next thing smoking. And I thought to myself, like, she quit school, ran away from her mom house, quit a job. I didn't ask her to do these things. These are, but actually, I know what? I'm gonna claim that. I did. I did. I did.
Indirectly, you did.
And
Indirectly, yeah.
indirectly, and to keep it real, I did, because you know what? I'm not gonna drag her along off of something traumatic that happened to me. You know what I mean? You know, my mom kicked me out and I got to look for an apartment. I'm so hurt during this time. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I didn't sleep for 2 days straight after that until I had an apartment. And then, you know, she even put half up of the security deposit. Sure did. And ever since then, that was no more than 3 months. Soon as she came down, maybe 2 weeks later, not even, took her to City Hall. And I said, you know, you're mine, you know?
You claimed her very quickly, and I'm glad that you said this
Hmm.
because again, you're not the only friend that I know that within a short time span was like, yo, like you're checking off all my boxes. You're suitable for me. We're getting married.
Right.
Like I at least know like four guys that met the girl. Like these guys were like broke. I'm not talking like broke, but they were broke, and the girl like helped them down. Like she's like, I am in with you.
Right.
And now these guys are super successful, and now the girl is just living the high life.
That's the
Hmm,
plan, Stan. Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And we speak a lot about this because we say, like, if someone's not choosing you, stop
Don't
wasting your
waste your time.
time. And
Exactly.
you've just said, you'd said to her already, if you're not gonna, if it's not for you, then it's not gonna last. So it's either you're in or you're not in. And I think a lot of people need to realize this, that it's definitely opened my eyes and woken me up to how it, I want to say, should be, and I think that is the right word, how it should be.
Right.
And you're a perfect example of that. You've just come along and you've met somebody, and because you knew and you're in a knowing place and you're ready, you're telling her. And if she was not ready, then it wouldn't have been her. But she was, and she was prepared to do what she'd done. You both come together, and bam, you become a power couple. And I think that's what couples are about, right? Power couples,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's a whole nother topic. Yeah. It's all about that power, you know, and just building that power. Just to, you know, bring it back to my childhood, I was in the foster home and I was also adopted at 8 or 9 years old. Um, I was in the system since 5, and my mom was from this is from my knowledge as well. My mom was 14 when she had me and my twin brother, and she
Wow.
had all 5 of us by the time she was 20. And I still have a lot of memories and whatnot. But what I'm trying to say is, like, even my adopted mom, you know, she really showed me the way, brought us to church. I never seen her with no guy. She never brought a guy home. She didn't even entertain that. I grew up with all brothers, even all our aunts, and you know, all of everybody's single moms everywhere. I just wanted, you know, just a family sense, and something I never had. I always knew what I wanted. It was because it was something I never had, and not only that I didn't have it, I want to build on it. You know, I think of me and my wife um, as Adam and Eve. You know, in a sense,
Ah,
because I don't have that family tree, or you know, no strong roots, and that's what I want to build. And I was 20, she was 19
wow.
when we married, and the after 1 year we had my first daughter, Dahlia.
See, I like what he's saying though, because for me, a man who is certain is dangerous. And what I mean by that is he came to her and was like, "You're the one I want. I'm not playing around. Do you want this too?" Because most
Right.
guys will drag it out, most girls will drag it out. He's like, "No, like we're either a thing or we're not."
Right.
And I think for a man who's like in that level of certainty can create like the wildest things, which clearly your life is a manifestation of that because you got the woman you wanted
Right. Right.
because he was so certain. He was so like, okay, like this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Are you in?
I mean,
I I, I think, sorry, I think is I got the woman I needed.
Yeah, you got the woman you needed.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got
Yeah.
the woman you
Yeah.
needed. And that's the thing. It's from your level of certainty because I love what you said because when you're certain, you don't play around with people's hearts. I think a lot of times when people are uncertain, they'll,
They play.
oh, I need to figure out if I like you. I need to figure out, this stuff. And it's like, no, you're wasting my time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. I just got to say, it made me very emotional.
Yeah. I was trying to stop myself from getting emotional, but yeah.
Honestly, I just felt myself. Oh my goodness. No,
Well,
it's
it
so
just shows that
touching.
you could turn like his
Things
experience into
around.
a very positive because you see, the family that he never had, now he has that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. That's such a, you know what, and this is what life is about, isn't it? To hear stories like this makes my heart sing because I know, and this is why I have so much respect for men. I respect men to such a high level because of what you guys can actually bring into this world and how you take the reins, like the men that know what they want, how they do things. It, I love it. I just think it's great because you create something so powerful out here, and look at the dynamics of what you've got and your children and how you're going to grow, and the tree from what you're going to have, all the branches that are coming out from this. It's profound, man.
I appreciate that. I met Michael uh through this through ACN,
Yeah, that was years
and
ago.
that
Oh,
was
I
when I
remember
first came.
ACN.
That was years ago.
That's when I first came to Canada. So literally, Michael is one of the first people I ever met and or built a friend relationship with. That's why whenever you call, I answer. But
I appreciate that.
no, of course, bro. And with that being said, I was trying to do whatever I can. I could have. ACN was the only thing I could have done legally. Really, I
Mm.
was a new immigrant in Canada. I
Were you
couldn't
married
work.
at that time?
I was very married at that
Okay.
time, so I was through sponsorship through my wife, and through sponsorship when you're living and you can't work. So ACN was something I could do legally because they set me up in the states, and it was. But
Wow.
just to fast forward, that was what 2015, 2014.
Yeah.
Just to fast forward, I'm a commercial building manager um, for District Realty, a property management group with my name on the door, with salary pay, with all types of benefits. You know, so
Wow.
like it doesn't matter. Like what I'm all about growing. So when it's as a business, just life on Earth is just about leveling up.
Yeah.
It actually is deeper than that. Life on Earth, I think, is the whole point Earth was created in life was to help people around you and keep the Earth going. You know what I mean?
I
And not
agree.
just keep the Earth going, but people in your environment, people in your community. How can you help? Whether it's the birds, whether it's the snails, whether it's just
Doesn't have to
anything.
be a human.
Level of
Right,
contribution.
right. It's about your contribution to this Earth. That's the whole point why you're here. You
Yeah.
know, so that's why I was talking about monetizing. All of us has something that is unique to us creatively, I believe. Whatever you like to do, whether it's reading books or whether it's going outside, even if it's just looking at stars, take a picture of what you saw, vlog about what you saw, take a picture of what you did, and just put a mic behind it and then talk behind the picture,
I
and then put it up. There's people who feel the exact same way you are, who think, and there's just all about growing. I'm not just in this job to be here. In about 2 years I'm gonna figure out, what am I doing.
the next
Do
step.
I need to move on? But hopefully this music works out by 30. That's my goal.
Well, I
It's
actually had
working
a
out
question for
already.
you actually. As an artist, or even just being in a marriage, do you believe in unconditional love or do you believe in conditional love? That love is always going to come with conditions.
That's a good
um
question.
it's I said unconditional love before, but conditioned is okay, especially if you're setting up boundaries, especially if there's things that you're not looking for. But unconditional love is unconditional love is something that's acquired. It's not just something, you have to learn to love that person you're talking about specifically unconditionally. I come with a lot of baggage. I come with a lot of childhood trauma. Sometimes
Mm.
it shows, sometimes, I got a lot of growth. I've written about it, I've talked about it, I sung about it, I rapped about it. I have a lot of growth. Sometimes it rains, and when it rains, it pours. So, you don't get that side of me a lot. And that's a good condition that everybody can't handle. So when that happens, what happens? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Do I believe in unconditional love? It depends. You know, everybody has a side of them, who they are, that nobody wants to see,
Mm.
and that person should be able to bring them out.
I love that you said that. And the reason why I asked that question is because, especially with us two being a man, there's more of a level of performance burden on us, especially if I want to have a family, we want to take care of a woman. There's more of that level of performance burden when it comes to that. So, is there any way that you could really speak on that? Because, again, sometimes, especially in modern dating, if you're not a good provider, a woman is trading you up like a fish. She's like, there's another fish in the sea.
That's okay. It all depends. Again, you have to be in the community or the environment you want to thrive in. So if you're not a person who wants to be a provider, you want somebody to provide, that's okay. Me, I have no shame in providing. I want to take care of all my ladies for the rest of my life, and I want to play that role as well. I also look at it as like a beehive. There's worker bees, there's the queen bees, there's the drone. Everybody play their part. Um, I'm also very spiritual, to where I feel like everybody's on this life to play a role. And if you know you should be providing and you're just trying to avoid it, then maybe it's something that you need to heal. Or if you don't want to have that pressure, take yourself out that environment. Maybe you don't need
Stop
to be with
dating.
somebody else.
Mm. And I think when it comes to unconditional love and conditional love, I think if you've got a relationship like how you've explained yours to be, there is you can work. The unconditional comes with, I think, a level of respect from the beginning, right? And then, but then you've got the other side of it where when people meet someone, there's the condition to be with each other. Like if you're not meeting certain criteria, then you're not going to get with that person. So there's conditions behind that. But I think once you're in an established relationship, maybe it can be that it's an unconditional love, because if if the relationship is not, there's no such thing as perfect, but if the relationship is something that is growing together, and you are both spiritual beings with one another, and how you've described your relationship to be, then yes, if you decided one day, let's not say you, let's just say in a relationship there's two people that get on, that have got a fantastic relationship, but one decides they're just not going to be participating anymore, they're just going to be sitting on the sofa and doing nothing, then there's going to be, the condition is that you must get up and start doing something. And if they're not listening and they're not participating, then how long can you keep like that? It can't be, you can't continue with an unconditional love if somebody's not participating, right?
I agree. I agree. I agree. You didn't
Yeah.
say anything wrong. No, that makes perfect sense.
So I think there is conditions, and there is unconditional love, but at the same time, through the unconditional love, if certain conditions do happen, then like you'd said earlier on, you could love someone from a distance still. Maybe it's not going to go that way because somebody's fallen
Yeah,
short for too long, but it doesn't mean that the love has gone. You can still love that person from a distance, but you just can't be with them because of A, B, C, and D, let's say.
that's right. It's like to bring it back to the business.
Yeah.
Far as like being conditioned, you can have unconditional love, especially if been dating for a while or something. I'm trying to think of a miraculous happens where your mom kicks you out, and you really have to see if this thing is gonna work. Like the relationship is on the line. This will make or break. What if she said no? What if she
Yeah.
said no? None of this would happen. And at that point in time, what other for me, what other sign could there be? And
Mm.
that was the unconditional part. For this brave act, you'll always have the purple ribbon with me, the purple heart ribbon with me. As far as this marriage goes, in order for us to work, for us to last, these next 70 or 80 trips around the sun, these are the conditions, these are the rules and guidelines. These are, things of that nature. Now, when again, she's a human with thoughts and feelings. She's not a robot. Like, if the house is not picked up, I'm not the type of, yo, like, what's going on with the house? Especially not right now. She's going to school. She also has two kids. Her mom and my mother-in-law and father-in-law lives right around the corner. She also works a job at a retirement home. You know what I mean? So I pick up when I can pick up. She pick up where she can pick up, and it works. Now, like, what if I, didn't pick up the house or whatnot, or what if I didn't go to work? It's not the fact that I'm not working or picking up the house that she's gonna leave me and go for somebody else. The whole point of this is to treat the marriage as its own business. At what are our projections? We're not just in it because we love each other. No,
Mm.
no, no. We got a house to get. We got a driveway to get. We have a retirement plan to get. We have our daughter's college fund to do. We had, there's things for us. We're years. I figure the next 10 more trips around the sun, we can have all that situated, and
Mm.
according to these rules and guidelines and these conditions. But far as my love for her, even if she becomes a crack addict one day, she's like, I'm gonna do whatever I can. She don't do drugs or
No,
anything
she.
like that. No, no, no. But even if she did, what I in the marriage? No, heck no. Especially not after you. I'm gonna do whatever I can. But if I figure that my life where I want to be is it's not up to par, I have to figure out what I need to do at that point. Whatever that
Comes back
case
to
may be.
self. Yeah, it comes
Right,
back to self,
right,
doesn't it? You've got to look at yourself. What am I doing, and where and what am I
right.
participating within this? And I think this is where too many people hold the other person responsible for how they feel and how
Mm,
what things are happening. And there's the victim mentality and the complete blame game going on in relationships. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. Well, actually, you look in
mm.
the mirror and see what you're doing, and it's
Yes.
and I love the word you use as well, the projection. Like you have to project what's happening. It's a
Mm,
vision, isn't it? If you don't have that vision within your relationship, where actually you go? And it's like I often say, if you get in the car and you're going somewhere completely different to where you've ever been, if you don't put the sat nav on the sat navigation system and you just put in there just the area, but you need to get to a specific place, then you're not actually going to get there. You're going to get quite lost along the way, quite dizzy, asking people. But actually, if you knew your destination and you got that vision and you can project that and you kind of know this is where I'm going, then you can work towards it and that can happen, right?
right. No, I
But
agree. And
yeah, sorry.
no, you're okay. I was gonna say responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
That's a big thing I'm teaching all three of my girls, my wife and my two daughters, especially my oldest daughter. Um, just being in any relationship, I always bring it back to animals. I went to school for zoology, and I entered at zoos, vet clinics, or whatever. So, like, it's like a bear in the jungle. Animals can't talk. So they figure out what to eat and what not to eat, or where to go and where not to go, simply just by watching their mother. So in our case, it's mom and dad. So I have to be careful how I speak to my wife in front of her. I have to be careful how I speak to her. And and I never call my wife out her name, especially not on social media, and not in my songs either. And I'm teaching my daughter take responsibility and accountability, not only, just for, to make yourself feel good, but you need to know, like in life, that what you do, you have to stand behind it. And what other people do, they have to stand by who they are. I'm also teaching her, just to sidetrack a bit, about, being the master of your own body and abilities, and, just realizing where you are and where your environment is. So what I'm teaching her now is, before I give her a hug or give her a kiss, can I hug you?
Mm,
Yes. Thank you. Can I kiss you too on your forehead? Yes. And, earlier after school, I'm gonna get a little personal, but that's okay. She was getting dressed, getting her pajamas on, and I just came home. I'm just seeing her. Can can I hug you? She said, yeah. Oh no, you have to wait. I only have my t-shirt on. Can you wait till I get my shirt on? Of course, yes. I'll
Ah,
be
what
back.
respect.
You
That's
know,
amazing.
that's not something that I was taught. Maybe I was, but not far as, just simple as your body, your space, my body, my space, and I have to respect others as so. So, and try and teach her at a young age so that she knows accountability, responsibility, and then, being the master of your own body and abilities.
Yeah, it's
wow, man, that was
amazing.
very powerful. That's why I was like
Thanks,
staying silent the whole time.
thanks,
Um,
bro.
because the thing that I like the most about your story is how you treated it like a business. Is you came to your wife at the time with a business plan. You're like, look, like I want you. This is the business plan for our life. We're gonna get a house. We're gonna save up for the kids' college. We're gonna do all these things. You gave her a roadmap, and
No, and
honestly,
I,
I
I
think
have to interrupt. I didn't.
shoot.
I didn't know that. Look, like I said, I'm a very impulsive person. My mom kicked me out looking for an
Mm,
apartment. I was being real with her. I was very honest. But to tell you that, we would have made it this far, I had to grow to be the person that I am. There
mhm,
was instances where, you know, I never actually, had sex with anybody but my wife. But no, I did a couple of things that were unruly in the beginning of our relationships. And there was times where, but the whole thing about it is, I like to learn and grow.
mm,
That's just always been me. If there's a situation, whether it's how I made myself feel or somebody else feel, I try to, take responsibility and accountability and try to be the master of my ability in body, mind, and soul, and figure out how can I have done better. My wife would tell you one thing she love about me is, I don't make the same mistake twice.
mm.
I like to learn. I like to grow
See, and I
in the
love that you
business.
said that, man. Like it's so powerful because I feel like sometimes like you're a reflection of me because I've made those mistakes sometimes with women and now where I'm at now, the biggest thing I learn is if you don't have a plan for that woman in your life, don't deal with her because you're going to mess her up for the next guy.
Right.
So I've always learned now it's like if I don't have a plan for you to take you on dates, to want to be serious with you, for me to enjoy that person's body, for them to enjoy mine, if I don't have a plan for you for those things or to build a life with you, get a house, whatever, I shouldn't be dealing with you at all.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody, again, everyone's not taught that.
I wasn't. I didn't learn
Yeah.
that till I was 35 and that's now.
Well,
It's interesting, isn't it? Because this is what I love about this day and age, being able to do things like this podcast like this and be able to communicate with people and be able to get stories out there because so many of us, it's like I'm in my 40s, so my life, my upbringing would have been completely different to someone at the age of 20. Like the way the internet is today, we didn't have that everything at the tap of our fingers like that. So for the generation that are here today and the generation to come, for us to be able to come together and be able to express this, and you to be vulnerable and tell your story the way you have, and be able to give those principles to and share like what you, how it is with your girls at home and how you're implementing certain things. I think it is super powerful because it's not out there enough, I don't think. And I think the more we can get it out there, the more it saves people heartache and trauma and so much. Because you know, I was a single parent, and I always said to my children, like, you know, I'm so sorry, I can't be both. Like, I don't know what to bring you as a man. I'm not a man to bring that to you. And at the end of the day, I don't know the attributes of a guy. I don't know what you guys could bring, because I don't have that mindset. I don't have that body. I can't embody that. And I didn't want to embody that either, because I want to be a woman at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
you know, so it was quite, sometimes I'd have moments where I'd feel guilty that I couldn't bring to my son what a man would bring to my son, or bring to my daughter what a man could. I could only bring what I could bring as a woman. So these conversations for children who have grown up in single parent families can hear things like this and be able to say, or not, I'm not even saying children, even like 20, 25, you know, it doesn't matter the age where we're at, because I'm still learning at my age. But to be able to bring this out there, and just, this is what we were saying, it's not about just us, it's about helping everybody as much as we can in all different ways. And sometimes just a conversation makes a huge difference to people's lives.
Right.
So, yeah, so thank you. Like, honestly, thank you for
Of
sharing
course.
everything you've shared so far. I know we haven't finished, but I just want to say,
Yeah.
tell you my appreciation for what you have shared.
Yeah. And just, shout out to all the single moms. I was raised by a single mom, and then, you don't have to try to, or it's going to happen anyway. Don't feel bad about, not being the father, or, you know, not having that father figure in my life. That really helped me out a lot. You're either going to be, shown how to, what a father is, or you're going to be shown what a father is not, you know, whether a father is in there or not, or in the picture. And, I think my mom, not bringing any men in the house or being single, that taught me how to respect women a lot, and what type of man I had to be the man of the house. I had to change the light bulb. I had to mow the lawn. I still had to work, help out with the bills. My mom taught me how to be a man instead of showing us what a man was. And that's one of the great things I am as a dad, being adopted at 9 years old, and being in the church. And I wasn't always the spiritual until I came to Canada. I've been trying to grow and whatnot, but I was still introduced to it early.
Wow, I really appreciate that, my friend. And I really appreciate you telling your story. I do have to ask you a question though. What keys do you think make a successful marriage now that you're in one?
Um, I have a key. I'll say it, but I want to think of a bigger one. But the first one I'll say is, you can't change a person, or you can't project the type of person you want to be with. It's our reality. So one thing I really hate is that, my mother-in-law, father-in-law is always here, and we're always there, and we're going over there to eat. But what? I'm not going to let that taint the marriage or the relationship. Why? Because that's something, number one, I can't change. Number two, that's her mom and dad. You know, there's nothing I could do about that. That's where
Mm.
unconditional comes in. That's where unconditional comes in. This girl ran away. She quit school. She quit her job. My wife might feel indebted to help out. My wife my mother and father-in-law from Thailand, so she might feel indebted to to be there for them. So there are things that they're going. Don't let everything isn't a problem, but everything has their own solution. You know, that I think that's the biggest part, and don't rely on your significant other to make you happy. That's selfish,
Mm.
very selfish.
Mm.
For instance, when I come home, my wife, she has all these things to tell me. I'm talking about from work, what happened on social media, what happened on the shade room. Oh my God. So, I just got out of work as well. And I'm a building manager. I have to deal with all these contractors, sometimes waking up early. And I tell her, I'm going to give you your time. I just need an hour. Can I just have an hour by myself? Then I'll maybe roll a joint, and listen to one of my songs I just did. And I'll sit on the balcony for an hour. Then I go in there and I just give her my ear. I just listen, because now
Ah,
I'm good. Now I'm
yeah,
good.
Mm.
I'm good. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm good.
So you've learned how to communicate with your wife effectively, is what I would say.
Right, right. I think again, I don't know if I was, I could have I could have just came home from work. Blah, 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 blah. I could have went that route. But like I said, everything's not a problem, but everything can be a solution. You know, you just need a time to decompress.
Wow. So you've learned to communicate with her effectively. So would you say that that's one of the keys of having a successful marriage?
Oh yeah, matter of fact, that'll be the number one. It's communication,
yeah,
communication,
yeah,
communication. What I said, communication can stop a war. So I heard a
yeah.
quote: "Communication can end a war, start a war." But either way, communication is powerful.
Mm. Well, just
And I
same
commu
as today.
and y'all, you heard my story. Like I keep it real. I already I don't need a friend, or it's not gonna last if you don't come through.
But I like that directness though. Like a lot of times I feel that women can't
It's
handle that
communication.
directness.
It's communication.
It
It's not.
is, but I mean
Let's not
like
even call it directness. It's communication. What
it's
if I
very
was like,
assertive. It
what
is
if
very
I just
assertive.
thought that? What if I just thought that? You know what I mean?
Mm.
If I just
Yeah,
thought it, I
and you
got
never
this
said it.
apartment. I
You're
never
just
said it.
very assertive though, because you were like, look, like you're either hopping on the bandwagon or you're not.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
And
That,
for me personally, this is just me. I find women are way more attractive to men that are very assertive than very passive.
that's. I mean, my wife. Like, oh yeah. Well, again, I'm a positive. What she loved about that situation is, um, I knew what I want.
Yeah,
She
you had a
liked
plan for her.
she liked
Mm.
it that I was very direct with her. you know. Later on, I found out she was talking to another guy at the time when I asked her about, I want you to be my girl. I don't need a friend. I don't want to waste your time. Don't waste my time. And then she just started just talking to me. The other guy was
Mm.
playing around. He was playing
Mm.
around.
But you see, that's what I want to, and I'm glad that you brought that up. But you see what I'm saying? You actually had a plan for her when the other guy didn't. You were like, look, I like you. You're either jumping on this train or you're not. The other guy's like, I need to figure out what I want to do with you. You're like, I already know what I want to do with you. Like,
I
I already
already
have
know.
that established.
And that's like 10 times more attractive to a woman than a guy not knowing. And I've just had this conversation with somebody today actually, and she ended up being direct, and he was still saying, well, if the universe, if it's
He
right
was
and the
playing in the
universe brings
mud.
us together, then. And I said, no, no, no,
Oh
no,
my
no, no, no,
god.
walk away. At the end of the day, if you know what you want and he doesn't know, and he's still giving it, we need to see how this works out and that works out.
No,
He's wasting your time.
that's
It's
a
a
red
time
flag.
waster.
That is a red
It's a
flag
red
for me.
flag. So I have any red flags. I don't have
I
any
wish
red
I had
flags.
a flag, but that's a red flag when someone's like, the universe needs to tell us something and we need to.
No,
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 I,
no,
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 I
no.
I believe in manifesting
Yes,
I
and getting
do.
what you
100%.
want. But when people say like,
It's a cop out.
I'm waiting or the future, look, we're the whole point of a day goes by is because the earth spins, right? So what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say is that there's no past, there's no future. There is, but essentially, we're here. It is what it
Okay.
is. Who knows what's gonna happen the next few trips around the sun? Let's just live and let's grow to a
Thank you.
point where if there is a future, let's manifest. We can obtain it. So by the time we're where we want to be, we have what we manifested and prayed about.
Mm.
But all that shit don't work if you're not working on it.
I would say
Absolutely.
implementing it more than like 100%, like implementing it, like. And I love that you brought that story up with your wife, because it just shows that it's like, yeah, she was talking to someone else, but he was playing games.
He's
So
playing games.
clearly she chose the better choice, because she's like, this man has a plan for me. He's taking me seriously. So I think like that's very important when it comes to the conversation we're having about business agreements. Don't do a business agreement with somebody that has no idea what they want. You're setting yourself
Right.
up to fail,
Mm. And
because
it
they're
goes on
going to
both
drag you
sides,
down with
right?
you.
Female or male. If you both, if one knows what they want and the other one doesn't know what they want, then, like you said, we're living in the present moment. So we either know and
Or you
we're either
don't.
clear or we're not.
Well, like I said earlier, to add on, you have to, if you want to thrive, you have to be in the environment or a community where you can thrive in. I want to be a music artist, you know what I mean? So I'm not gonna go to like a paintball shop to sing my songs. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know what you want in life, that's okay. For real.
Mm.
It's really
To a
okay.
degree,
Yeah.
at some point you need to
No.
figure it out.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's where I'm getting to. So why not? You might need somebody who else might not know what they want, you know. But you have to know right then and there, both of you. Hey, I don't know what I don't know what I want either.
Right.
Okay, but
Mm.
let's
Communication.
both let's both take this journey together then. Because if one person knows what they want and the other person don't, in the middle, there's gonna be a lot of resentment on
That's
both
true.
sides. This person's gonna be like, "Damn, I really wish she would just catch up," and this person's like, "I kind of want to catch up, but I just don't want to. I'm good where I'm at."
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
Mm.
and that can happen to anybody. Like I said, who knows where we are? Who knows where we would be in the next future? Especially with my wife. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe maybe anything could happen. I'll never divorce my wife. We in this forever. But what I'm saying is, it's okay to divorce, especially if you feel like you're not into it anymore. This is not going to work. I'm not the same person who I was 30 years ago when I married you.
Mm.
You
See,
know,
I love what you
that's
said, man.
okay. We only got one life.
See, I love what you said though, and the reason why I'm saying that, like, yes, if two people don't know what each other want and they get together, then it's just two lost people being lost together.
Mm.
That's one thing
Finding
I've
their way
always stood
together.
on. Like, if you're lost and I'm lost, then we're not gonna ever go in a direction. We're both lost.
It's true.
You know what I mean? It's the blind leading the blind at that point. But there was something that you said that was very important, which I think the audience needs to hear. Is you said don't try to project or change somebody. Don't try to
Mm.
take your image of what you want them to be and project it onto them. And there's a reason why I said that. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll meet someone and this person's like, I'm not looking for a relationship, right? But then they still try to like change them into it, like still try to like pull them into wanting one. And it's like I always say this: if somebody tells you something, take their word for it.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
Take their
communication.
word for it.
Yeah. And it's interesting how many, I know I've said before in this podcast, I've done that where somebody has said, I don't want a relationship. And I've gone along thinking, well, we get on so well, everything's so
Mhm.
good. Want to be in a relationship
Change
with
his
me over
mind.
time. And he'll change his mind. And then I just wasted my time because actually he told me. So why didn't I listen? Because I didn't know no different. I thought that I could do that. And now I've learned that, it's like it's one of my greatest lessons in life. And so I'm actually happy I had that experience. But it actually, for our audience to know that, it, listen to what people are saying to you, hear them, don't just listen, take it on board. And if you're okay with not being in a relationship, then continue. It's up to you. No one's going to tell you what you can and can't do. But if you want to save the heartache, listen and really hear what they're saying. They don't want to be in a relationship, so don't think you're going to change their mind. It's not going to happen. It really is not going to happen.
Right. And again, I think I'm not even talking about relationships. I think there can be a lot of ups and downs during a dating while you're dating or relationship. When we're talking about marriage, I think a marriage is something where you should be able to thrive off just by yourself. Just for instance, if you're married with somebody and all they do is just make you sad and you're depressed and you come home and you stay at work long because you don't want to come home too soon because you don't want to deal with her mouth, blah blah blah. These things happen,
They do.
normally in them. But I'm saying like when this is 2 years straight, like you're the relationship's not going anywhere. You guys barely talk. You guys barely touch. You're no longer in an environment where you could thrive in. Because now you're in an environment where you have no official outlet to be
It's survival
yourself.
of the fittest at that point.
Exactly, bro. And that part is scary. And I think you have to have your own outlet. I don't think your wife or your husband shouldn't be your outlet. And what I mean by outlet, I'm talking about what keeps you grounded, what keeps you happy.
Have things
Because if you
outside of
don't, exactly, like my music, that's an outlet. My job can be an outlet. Even
going
spending
to the
time,
gym.
yeah, but even spending time with my daughters can be an outlet. But if we're talking about a marriage here,
Mm.
my wife, using my wife as an outlet, for example, um, to make me happy. Um, I would even say like to make me feel better if I had a bad day. I don't put that on her.
Mm-mm.
Oof.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, like I use myself as, that's why when I come home, I have to, you know, flush everything so I don't be toxic. I don't bring nothing toxic to her.
Mm.
Powerful. And
Wow.
yeah, that is really powerful because I've seen and heard so many people come home and they will take out their day, will come out on their spouse, their husband, their wife, and they will put it all out on them, and then it becomes this heavy energies just come into the household, and then it's
Right,
like, well, where are you gonna, that person has nowhere to have an outlet because they didn't plan on an outlet that evening. They didn't realize that was going to come to them. But if that's happening
right.
often, then yeah, you're walking around with another person's energy on top of you
Mm.
that actually you've got your own to have to clear. So if you're both coming into the household, both cleared of that, and be able to come with a clean energy, like you said, no toxic stuff coming in, just whatever's happened at work. And if you want to talk about it later, you can sit down and say, oh,
Mm.
hi, today I'm just going to express something, and they can just listen, and that's it. And you can
And
continue,
that's it. Yeah.
right?
Well, especially if you're the head of the household and you're the man and you're the one like coming home and creating that environment, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
yeah, I would agree with you. I try to stay away from like gender or man stuff, just because I'm in a house full of ladies. I try to empower them. But you're 100% right. My ladies have a lot of emotions
Yeah,
that I have
Mm.
they
to,
do.
and not that I have to, take in, but to manage. My daughter may have a bad day in school. And guess what? I'm her outlet. I'll be her outlet. What happened? Sit down, daddy's listening.
Well,
You
for
know.
men, that's what we're built for because I can say this as men, we're supposed to be the rock. But when it comes to arguments with women, like because it happens or disagreements, we're not built to handle those. And I'll say why. Because as men, we're fixers. The first thing we're going to say is we're going to give you a solution, how to fix your problem. But the woman's just like, I don't want you to fix my problem. I just want you to hear me. You see,
I
so that's
agree.
where that
Yeah,
communication comes into play.
that's true. That's true. I mean, it all depends who you're with. You
Yeah.
know, some girls might want some advice.
Some
Some
exactly
some girls might, just want just lay
to
on your
listen.
chest and tell you your problems. But if you're not, established
Somebody.
your, even my wife, she's good, well off by herself as well. She's off 12:30. I don't get home till 4:30. By the time she do see me, she miss me. It's been a long day, and
I got
she had her time. She's been waiting for me to tell me about what happened to work all day. So she makes sure she has her time, and I think that works out. I think having an outlet for yourself might be bigger than communication.
mm.
You're
You
making
know,
me want to get married.
hey, uh, you can get married. You can get married. As long as, well,
As long as it's
what
the
type.
right person.
Yeah, I feel like I've been talking a lot. What are you looking for in a marriage?
Oh, do you know what?
Ooh. I've
This is
asked her this
something
question
that
before on a live, and she never gave me an answer. I asked her this
I
question
shut
before.
down on this question.
Oh no, no,
Oh, you know what? It's somebody who I just want to, like, you said about the business side of things.
mhm.
It's literally that kind of understanding with one another where we can just just have that compassion with one another, be able to travel, be able to build businesses together. Like, I'm very creative, I'm an author, I'm a writer, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. I do what we were speaking about before off camera, was saying, doing videos and stuff. I like to inspire people. I teach the law of attraction. So I need
Wow.
somebody who's very creative alongside me, that we could kind of work well together as a business within a relationship, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's just I want
Can I
someone
ask you a
who
question?
listens. Yeah, go for it.
Do you have somebody in mind when you say that?
I know, I actually
No,
don't.
no one in your
No,
life is like a top contender, or
no, there's nobody that I have my eye on right now, shall we say.
Are you in the dating space right now?
No,
No. Okay. Okay.
no.
Yeah. And all your kids are grown.
Yeah, they're 20 and
Yeah.
22.
So do you go out a bit and have drinks?
You
No.
No,
did a couple
it's
weeks
only,
ago with the girlfriend.
well, I've just actually, I say no, I've just started. Last month was the first time I'd been
Yeah,
out
that was
in
the first
15.
time.
That was the first time. I am going out next weekend because it's my birthday. And
Hey, happy
yeah,
birthday.
so I can't, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But it's actually, I was with my children up until just a few months, last year, May. So it was the first time from May on, no, even June, sorry, from June onwards, that I it was just me. So I had took on this whole new world. It's been me and my two children for 20 odd years.
Right.
22 years, 21 years, 22, whatever it's been. So all of a sudden, and I was like, what you'd said, what you'd expressed, I'd never brought men into the house. It was just me. I
Right.
wasn't interested because I didn't want my children to see that and think that that's okay. So I
Right.
kept everything very separate. So now it's my time. So that's why I get like, I'm not really sure where I'm going. When I know what I want, just to express it on camera, I get a bit, I kind of shut down with it.
That's okay. Well, you know what? You have to put it out there. Put them sound waves just out there. And
Yeah,
also, don't force anything. Again, like what will come will be naturally selected. So,
Be
you
open
know,
to receiving. That's what I always say.
yeah,
Be
I
open to
feel that. I
receiving.
am open to receiving,
Yeah,
baby.
that's it. Open to receiving. Like, don't close any doors. Don't shut anything off. Be open to receiving.
Yeah,
yes,
Um,
but at the same time though, you know who you are.
yeah,
You've been around the sun many times. Um, you know, and you don't need someone to basically, just you just want. I don't want to speak for you. Just
Go
You
for
got
it.
this. Yeah, just
I
go for it.
get
Have your own morals, have your own set of rules, have your own set of conditions. If this is gonna work, this is what happens. And if you're not that type of person, don't waste my time. You know,
Yeah, and
So
I do. I'm at that stage. I feel like that completely. It's like I don't entertain anything or just anyone. I refuse to just entertain anyone because unless you're coming to me properly, I'm not
that's
interested.
right. That's right, because you're a queen, right?
Yeah.
And if somebody want to be with this queen, they got to know what's up. That's a fact. And if you can't handle this queen, you can't be in my throne. That's a fact.
We had this conversation the other day.
You know what's fun? Yeah,
Yeah,
because we did a podcast. Should women call themselves queens? But yeah, we did a
Yeah,
podcast on
we
that
did
yeah.
one.
a podcast about it. That's
Well,
amazing that you said that.
you see my PHN, right? It's a crown on
Yeah,
there. It's because my slogan is "We all kings and queens."
we
That's
are.
we are all kings and queens, and until we realize that literally obtain what you want in this world, that's what makes you your own king, and that's what makes you your own queen. It's time to build after that, though.
Yeah.
You know,
But I feel that it becomes stronger when you find that marriage partner. Then it really.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no. See,
I so
that's the
look.
fairy tale. That's the fairy tale.
You know why I'm
That's the
saying it
fairy
though.
tale.
You know why
Because
I'm saying it though.
whether I'm with my wife or not, I'm a king. Whether she with me or
Yes.
not, I'm a queen. But I agree when you come together, but
Power.
it works out because we are who we are, and we
Mm,
know that I'm me and this is you, and I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to change me or make it bigger than what it is. We're just gonna grow on still being the king, queen that you are, and still being the king that I am, being respectful and also taking responsibility for what I can do, what I can't do. You know?
mm. There's a reason why I said it though.
Oh
Adam and Eve story.
yeah.
Adam Adam was a king in the kingdom doing his thing. He was on his purpose, and then God said
Hmm.
Adam shouldn't be alone. So clearly, God believes in hierarchy to some degree. But you see, when God gave Adam Eve, Adam was already on his purpose. But now the purpose went, like, let's say it went to like level 12 because now it was maximized. It doesn't mean that Eve was less valuable or Adam was less valuable, but when they came together, they were maximizing a purpose together.
I agree with that. I agree. Adam and Eve did maximize their purpose. I
Because God gave
100%
him a
agree.
helper. It said, I'm going to give you somebody to help you maximize this purpose I've already given you.
Yeah, but also like, was it other many options?
Okay, yeah, that's true. There weren't many other options.
I
It's not
mean,
like Adam was like, well, do you have anyone else in mind? Like, is there
this
a Jessica, a
they
Sarah?
couldn't
Like,
just say, "Well, this ain't gonna work." I'm gonna try someone else. They couldn't just say
I
that.
it's funny because I've actually heard that where people said, well, Adam was probably thinking, yo, is there like a Jessica, a Sally? Like, is this it? Is Eve only it? Okay,
Oh, that's
no
brilliant.
problem.
But I still agree 100% maximizing their purpose, and their purpose was to give, you know, to give fruit on the
Be
land,
fruitful and
be
multiply.
fruitful, multiply. Yeah,
And I think when a couple comes together, that's the ultimate goal. When you can marry someone, have kids with them, be fruitful and multiply the kids, the marriage, and the purpose.
right. I love the word fruitful. It's not, multiply is a good word, but fruitful has a lot of like annotation where there's growth, there's
Yeah.
vibrance to it. When a apple is ripe, or when a plum is ripe, or where peaches, they look beautiful. They have their own
Mm,
uniqueness along with their own taste. Where they're from, they're unique to where they're grown, and we all just have to remember that we are our own unique person. And if you want to be in a relationship or a marriage, it has to
it
complement
does.
who you are. I think you should be with the opposite to who are you with, rather than you know someone you're so alike. And it works for some people. For me, I like to smoke weed. My wife don't like to smoke weed. I like hip hop rap. She likes her country. I like to travel. Oh, she likes to travel. I like to stay home and chill.
Mm.
But she helps me to go see the world a little bit more, or I help her, expose her to my culture a bit, as far as music goes, and this is why I think this song is great. And she likes hip hop a little bit. I like some of her country songs.
I think that's what it should be though. Like when you're with
So
somebody,
cool.
you kind of open them to new experiences and new things that they might have never experienced by
Right,
themselves. A
right,
100%. Right now, everybody's gonna be different, right? Like as you said, you smoke weed, your wife doesn't. That's cool. To each
right.
his own. But I think at the end of the day, our job when we come into someone's life and it's a two-way street is to give them a new experience that they've never had before.
Sure, sure. But that's a lot for a marriage to keep giving them an experience that they never had
But
before.
think about it. Subconsciously, that's what you've done for your wife all these last couple of years. You've given her an experience that she's never had before. Subconsciously.
Yeah, I agree. With two
So both
kids.
of you have gone through it. Yeah, both
Yeah,
of you
because
have
think
gone
Yeah,
about
through a
it.
journey that you did. You'd never
yeah,
both never had kids before. You both never been married before. You both, yeah. So
Well,
you've
exactly.
think
come
about it.
together and you've created that together.
I'm sure pre her you would have never listened to country music, but now you do.
How cool is
Facts.
that?
See,
Matter
that's
of
what I'm
fact,
saying.
she because of that, I'm not gonna say I made a country song as of yet, but yeah, a lot of my influences from the songs that she make. Country singers are great songwriters. They're some of the
See?
best.
Yeah,
You know,
Exactly. So she brought
yeah.
in your experiences. So
right?
look guys, look, before we go, because we've been going on it for an hour, we're gonna let Vante actually play you some of his music before we
Yay.
go. Anthea's never heard it. I have, but we're actually
I've
gonna let
never
him
heard
play
it.
some of his music. And then, guys, if you want to follow him, once we're done this YouTube video, his bio is going to be in the YouTube thing down below. You want to get in touch with him, you want to listen to his music, you want to interact with him, it's all going to be down below. You guys should follow Vante Poems.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that. So this song is actually you're getting a leak, an unreleased song that's not even out yet. So this is an exclusive. It's
We are
called
blessed.
out. Yes, it's called Outer Space. It's my favorite song that I've ever created. I'm not saying that to promote the record. I'm actually saying that because I've actually tried something new on this song, something I've never really done before with my high pitched songs, whatnot. I won't ramble on, but this song is called Outer Space, and outer space is a metaphor just for take me outer space, to give me a feeling or an experience I've never had before. So here we go.
Excellent. Thank you.
Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, outer space. Take me out of, oh, 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 oh. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, outer space. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, outer space. Take me out of, oh, 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 outer space. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, outer space. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah. You a vibe and you match my energy. Take me to your favorite galaxy. Ooh, pull me, push me, make me feel your gravity. Help me fulfill my fantasy. Whoa, whoa, I know who you are. You my shooting star. Oh, trying to show you who I am. But I'm only shooting stars. Forget everybody else. Let's move to Mars. What a superstar. I'm in a cold space and I can't wait for tomorrow. Oh, oh, take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, out of space. Take me out of, oh, 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 out of space. Take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. take me out of, oh yeah, yeah, outer space, take me out of, ooh, oh, outer space, take me out of, ooh yeah, yeah, outer space, take me out of, ooh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
That's
And where can
brilliant.
people and when will people be able to listen to that?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm trying to get a feature on it um, with Misha, but I did leak it on Audio Mac. I leak every single song that I do in the studio only because I like to play it back over and over, and I hate to do it for my email. So I upload it to Audio Mac. So no matter where I'm at, I can listen to my mix. So if you follow me on Audio Mac, it's Vante Poems. There's no links. You gotta really enjoy the song to go there or anything because they're leaks. They're unreleased, but you can go to Audio Mac or my SoundCloud.
Okay. So they're
Thank
just waiting
you.
for it to end up on Spotify.
Yeah, actually, the reason why I'm waiting a bit to put it on all platforms, I own the beats. Shout out to Alvin Rise, my guy. He also made the beat for Mrs. on My Side and a couple of other songs that I created in the past. But I 100% own it. And again, it's no longer being shopped. It's in the music library for a music supervisor for a Netflix series that's being shot this fall. So
Wow.
um, I, I'm I'm seeing where it goes. But okay, June 1st is what I'm looking at, and
Okay.
I'm already shooting a music video for it. So I'm going to try to drop it with the music video.
We love it. We
It was
love it.
so calming and so nice. I could have
Thank
just
you.
shut my eyes and just got into a whole new world with it. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for coming on our podcast. It's been such a pleasure to meet you, like honestly,
Thank you.
and everything you've shared has just been profound and just uplifting too. So and very inspiring. So thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
And
It's been
guys,
an
just so
honor.
you know, it's not gonna be a one-off. We'll definitely have Vante Poems come back, talk
Definitely.
about another subject because he is just a fountain of information, guys. The buck doesn't stop there with Vante Poems.
Yeah, we could talk about anything. We could talk about. I have no one else to talk about it with, really. So I got a lot of things, but again, I appreciate you guys for having me, and I'm gonna do it one more time. It's Vante Poems, yay! You gotta take me out of space.
Well, thank you so
Hey.
much, guys. That was awesome. Look,
Thank you,
guys,
thank
we're
you.
really grateful to have him on here, guys. You're gonna see him on here again, and we really appreciate you guys rocking with us for this last hour and 20 minutes.
Yes, yes. Thank you again.
Yeah. Take
Peace.
care.
Thank you.